Good morning, Agua Caliente. Today I'm going to show you how to create an assessment on Oars and assign it online. Okay, so let's take a look. Now from the Oars home page, you're going to go ahead and you're going to go ahead and click Assessments. So go ahead and click Assessments. Okay, once you've gotten to this point, you'll see all of your assessments that you've created throughout your time you've been on Oars. So I don't want those, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to create a new assessment. So I'm going to come over to the left, here, and I'm going to click New, because I'm going to create a new assessment. So I'm going to click New, and then the drop-down menu will come down and you select Test. From this point, you're going to go ahead and you're going to select the subject you'd like to test the students on. In this case, I'll just choose math. Under course, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to choose grade 4. And I'm going to go ahead and name my test. So I try to make sure that I do it trimester specific. So if I go trimester 2, fractions, and then I put the standard, whatever the standard is. Okay? There may be multiple standards, so I may use multiple standards. Now under description, I'm going to go ahead and write whatever notes I want to write about the test, whatever I decide. So down here below these two blue buttons, one says choose individual items, the other one says automatic build. I usually go ahead and I choose the items myself, but you can do either way. But when you choose it automatically, choose individual items, you can choose a strand, you can choose the level of difficulty, the Lexile level, not the Lexile level, but the Bloom's taxonomy. You can do all that. So I'm going to go ahead and choose individual items. So as you can see here, the choose button comes up over here, right there, and automatic build is also there too. And there's a done button. Okay, and we'll get to that later. But over here, let me click this off. Over here, you have the subject you want to do it on, the test is on, the grade level, and then I want to pick the strand. So I'm going to go ahead and choose fractions. Okay, and if I want to choose specific standards, which I'll probably want to do, I'm going to choose a specific standard. So let's say I want to choose one standard. I can do it just on one standard. If I want to choose 3 items from one standard and then go back in and choose a different standard to test on, so I'm going to test multiple standards on the test, I can do that. I can just go back in, choose 3 items, go back to this button and choose another standard and continue from there. So let's say I'm just going to go ahead and choose NF4A. Okay, from this point I'm going to go to claims and targets. So in this case, it gives me options of concepts and procedures. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that. Now, it could come up under different claims for different standards. So I'm going to go ahead and choose concepts and procedures. And then under here, I can choose all targets, but it'll come up for that particular concept and procedures, come up with build fractions from unit fractions by applying and extending previous understandings. So it'll just kind of choose that target. So if I continue on, it'll show me here item banks, so where the tests are coming from, and it'll tell me that at student interactions, it may have a question. There may be questions in there where students will have to go ahead and plug in and answer electronically. So let's go ahead and continue. And down here, you can choose your mathematical practices, but generally I'll show you over here that they're chosen for each question. Okay, the depth of knowledge, Bloom's taxonomy levels, and all difficulties. You can go in there and you can choose if you like. Down here, audio, I'm choosing without audio, so the button without audio is clicked, and the video without video is checked. So I'm going to continue on. And if I look at the actual question, this one here has multiple responses or multiple correct answers. So I want to take a look at this. It says selected response, distractor rationales. I can look at that. It'll tell me where the kids can make make mistakes. Over here, teacher instruction, it'll show me information. Teacher, read the question to yourself and select the best answer. So that would be if I wanted to direct the students to do something. Over here, down below, if I continue on, it says I can show the standard here, the claims that go along with this particular standard, and the standards for mathematical practice are right here. In this case, it's 2 and 7. Down below here, it has a depth of knowledge. Okay, and this case is depth of knowledge is 1, recall. Bloom's taxonomy, it's an understanding level, and the difficulty in this particular question is high. So if I want this item, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add. Okay, and I'm going to follow that same process throughout this. And again, if I want to choose an additional standard to go with, I just go back over here to the left and I choose another standard to work with. And in this case, you might want to look at the claims that Dr. Pfeffer was talking about and make sure that you have standards that are grouped together. So, okay. So once we've gotten to this point and we've chosen our test, we've selected our questions we want to put on our test, then we go ahead and we click Done. Now once you get to this window, okay, when you press Done, you automatically go to this window. You can take a look at your questions, okay, and over here is a Save button. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save this test. And once I save this test, it's going to take me back to my list of assessments I've already created. Okay, and it'll take you back to this window here, take you back to all of your tests that you created. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and look at our tests that we created here just right now. And I'm going to go ahead and click the lightning bolt. Now, once I get to the lightning bolt, all of these options will pop up. So I can go in, I go back in, and I can edit, I can view it, I can delete it, I can make a copy, rename it if I wanted to do that. I could lock it, but we're going to lock it later, so I'm not going to do that right now. I could share it. So if I wanted to share this with the rest of my grade level, I can click Share. Okay, and I look here and it says Copy. Allow other users to copy this test after you share it. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it this way, and there's my test right there. I'm going to leave it this way, and I'm going to click Done, and that's going to take me to my list of teachers that I could choose to share it with. In this case, I'm going to share it with Ms. Glantz, and I'm going to share it with Mr. Howard. Okay, so their names are going to pop up over here, so I'm going to share it with them, and I'm going to create Save. I'm going to check Save, I'm sorry. So now I'm at the point here where I could click the, go ahead and put it online. So now I'm going to click the lightning bolt again. Now this option comes up on the bottom, Schedule for Online Assessment. So I'm going to schedule for online assessment, and it tells me that once I do this, it will lock the test. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to lock the test and schedule it online. So I'm going to go ahead and lock it. Now it takes me to this window where I'm going to go ahead and schedule a time for the students to take this test. So it says Add Window. So I'm going to click Add Window, and if I want to take it, give the kids a week to get this test done or just a day, I can do that. So it gives you options here of when to close the window, when to open the window. So in this case, I'm just going to do it for today. So I'm going to Add Window. But I'm not done yet. I need to go to Students. I need to select the students. So I'm going to add students. So it's going to take me a similar window as before. And I'm going to go ahead and click Agua Caliente. And you don't want to click your grade level. You want to click the actual teachers. All right. Here we go. So I'm going to click Ms. Glantz. I'm sorry. I'm going to click in my students. So I'm going to go to my students. I'm going to click Mr. Leone. And I'm going to add all of my students. Okay? So these are all these are going to be all of my students. And they're all added because that green check is there. Okay, so I'm going to press save. And down below here, you have the option of randomizing the questions so the kids don't have the same question on the screen. So I could choose that. So it limits the amount of copying going on. I can go in here with other options if I wanted to. But pretty much if you want to randomize it, that's pretty much it. Okay, so I can preview the assessment. I can do that. So here we are. Here's the assessment. Okay, we only have one question on this assessment. So I'm pretty much happy with this. So I'm going to go ahead and go back. I'm going to click out of this. I'm going to go back and say I'm happy with this. Okay, so once I'm done, I'm back to manage assessments. Okay, and now I can find my assessment in this window here. So this is open. So I'm going to take a look. I'm going to find my one I created. Okay, fractions, I think it was N4. I have a lot of them here, so I'm going to take a look. It probably might come up at the end. So I'm going to take a look. Boom. There it is. So here is the test. The amount of students are going to take the test. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and I can, over here with the lightning bolt, I can edit the assessment again. I can view student account information, all of this information here, mark as complete. I can do all of that. Okay, so I have the assessment. The kids now can log on, and they can log on to Oars, and the test will pop up, and they'll go ahead and take the test. Okay, if you have any more questions, if I didn't quite explain it correctly or anything like that, please give me a call if you want to. Just making this available to you if you'd like. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.